Hello everyone, welcome to another speedrun game against AZ Milo who plays the Sicilian against us. Let's try to play an open Sicilian. I don't know if we've done this on this speedrun. Maybe we did it like once or twice, tops. So we'll just go into it with no theory. Give it a go. He attacks our knight. Let's develop and defend it. He attacks our pawn. Let's develop and defend it. He pins the knight, re-attacking our pawn. Well, let's defend the pawn and allow him to trade and ruin our pawn structure at the cost of his bishop pair. A little give and take. Something good for him, something good for us. Instead, he says, no way, Jose. I'm going to double pressure it so that you lose stuff. Okay, it's one way to play. We'll just defend it. We break the absolute pin, but we put ourselves in a relative pin, so he just castles, which is fair. But I feel like we can maybe ruin this construction with this knight. A lot of times you just trade it to get out of the way of your stuff, but here maybe we can move it. His tempo on the queen. If he takes our knight and you take his queen, he gets your queen. So if he takes your knight, you can take with the pawn. His queen's under attack. We'll do that. And then the knight coordinates with the c5 bishop. It's interesting. He'll ruin our pawn structure, but he won't have the bishop. Or he can retreat right now with his queen somewhere. But players have a hard time doing that. He's going to have to move his queen anyway, somewhere, because it's under attack, so it's not so much a choice. And we have all the minor pieces on the board, so it can be a nice, interesting game. He goes back, fine. But now he can't even double our pawns. So I'm curious to see what he wants with this bishop. I mean, he didn't trade it last turn when he could have doubled our pawns. So doing it now when he can't double our pawns makes no sense. So he should retreat it to e7. In which case, you have this interesting knight move harassing the queen. It's possible. And then if the queen goes back, we can jump in here, picking up one of the bishops. We could long castle. We can go g4. We can go h4. Lots and lots of choices. But since this knight's fairly dominated, I am going to throw it here. And see if his queen commits to this. Okay, he goes back home, as expected. Now, we could try to utilize the d6 square before he breaks out. So let's go in there as intended, and now we can long castle next. I just wanted to take the time out to get the knight in that square, that hole. Because if you just do normal moves like castling or develop, then he plays d6, d5, and you don't have the opportunity. So he goes backwards. He really wants to fight for that square so he doesn't just get crushed. We could already take this bishop. It hasn't moved yet, but it is a bishop in the long run. And that would leave his knight stuck back here, which is dumb. We could also support it maybe, but that looks a little suspicious because he can hit us easily. Hmm. Okay, I'll just take his light bishop. It helps his rook a little bit, but long term, I think it'll be fine. We'll have this extra light square bishop. We'll try to use it. He takes with the queen, not even the rook. A little weird. A little weird. I'm trying to decide if I want a long castle or short castle. My intention was long castle, but now let's try it. Let's keep the game interesting. He does have the semi-open c file, but that's why it's interesting. So we castle and get our rook in the game immediately. We're staying flexible with our bishop as it has no clear place. He pushes one, fine. He's just protecting the square. Nothing crazy. Let's gain a little bit of space, stay flexible. Pawn storm is king since it's opposite side castling. We have king b1 ideas if we need a move, improvement move. So we're just gaining some space. We're not doing anything too crazy. We're just putting pawns a little closer to his king to see exactly what his intentions are. Is he going to pawn storm us with A and B? That would make some sense. But maybe he tries to play in the center because it's not locked, right? He can still try to do stuff. I don't know what exactly, but. So he moves his knight. Where's it going? Nowhere. It's kind of a weird move. And okay, h4. We'll just keep it going. Okay, he goes rook in the center. He wants to break through. I see. His plan is to just push. Fine. Makes sense. I wonder if I could try to push past it, though. That pawn would be hanging. So let's just completely destabilize our center and push all of the pawns. And say, if you want it, come and get it. Now he abandons the central plan and starts going for a flank plan, which is a little inconsistent to me. So let's get him to waste another turn so we can go in the center. It's just a trade after all. In the meantime, it's a good improving move. We could just move our bishop out of the way, but it's a little lame. Okay, maybe I go king b1. I know it seems weird, but it's always a useful move to have as I decide which one of these to push. I guess g5 makes sense. Wow, now he changes from the central plan to go back this way. That's kind of crazy. Now there's even more reason to stop these two pieces. He's wasting so much time, which is good for us. It also gives our bishop another possibility. Oh, my lamp went out. I gotta change lamps. Good thing I have backup lamps. Okay, so he breaks in the center. I'm gonna intermezzo this move and hit his rook. Kind of stabilize my bishop on a square because it doesn't have anywhere over here really yet. So maybe this blocks his b pawn. I mean, it's not permanent because it can be harassed and kicked and stuff, but for the time being, let's just see. Okay, so now we're going to close the center. We have, I mean, we did create some type of light square blockade possibility for him, but we could probably just keep steamrolling him with some support. There's also this square, maybe for a knight. I was looking at this square, but this is interesting. His pieces don't look impressive, right? They look rather cramped. So even if I'm not winning outright, or even if I can't checkmate him, which are very just optimistic things to assume you can do, who would want to play black here, right? It doesn't look fun to look for moves. If he tries this, maybe I just go in here. But since he's the one who's cramped, maybe I don't. Okay, he goes here. This looks like a bad move, but I think he wants to stabilize his knight as a defensive tool. The downside is I can go h5, right? So since I'm running low on time, without too much thought, I think we should full send the h-pawn. He definitely shouldn't take. If he doesn't take and we go h6, we have a very big endgame asset, that h6 pawn, but you lose any attacking potential. The alternative is to take and open up the rook to try to keep attacking potential on the board, because you have queen h2 after all. He takes with the f-pawn. Maybe he wants this as a possibility. We would want to maybe sack. So we don't want the queen in front of the rook. That ruins this sack. Can we take this? Takes. A little more development maybe. So let's finally develop our bishop. Aim at these weak squares. If this provokes his knight this way, then we can go and target the pawn again. And he can't go knight h5. Okay, so he goes neither here nor there, the other side of the board. A little weird. And it blocks the queen's connection, so I'm definitely not taking that. Takes. Takes. I mean, what if I go here? Provoke this. Actually, his rook defends this way. It's a bit annoying. If he takes this and I take this, I at the very least get 2 pawns for the piece. And there, I mean, without calculating, there should be at least another pawn's worth of compensation, like at minimum in the form of his king safety. And at maximum, you're completely winning outright. So without any calculating, I know that it's going to be in a range where it works for me. So he goes here, which does block the file. The downside is en passant. That's one of the downsides. There's also this pawn hanging. There's also rook coming. His king is losing defenders and protection. This is now a move. But let's move our bishop. I mean, we have lots of different moves, but let's move our bishop so his is stuck, and then we can move our rook over, and I mean, we can push, we can take stuff. It looks pretty devastating. Okay, so he moves his king so that we can't push, and he's defending. But it looks a little bit desperate. Time to bring in our rook. Look at his pieces. They're not exactly well placed. We're already threatening knight in, maybe even takes, and rook here, sacking a pawn. Oops. So we have lots of stuff to do, and he's kind of stuck. Maybe a computer here with black, you know, if you made 20 perfect moves in a row, could figure something out. So he goes for this. Opens up his queen. That's something. Okay, we need to deconstruct his stuff. Let's move this knight into the game. Get a little assistance, right? Let's jump it here. It comes with a threat. It was kind of like, what's it doing here anyway? So now we're just getting our last piece that's doing nothing, doing something. So all of our stuff's kind of employed, but now that this pawn is blockaded, our queen can probably find better squares. So he's probably going to jump the knight in here. And he's just trying to hold on. But what he's really doing is he's speeding himself up into a losing endgame. So it's not so favorable. We're going to take this knight as it's in the way and a good defensive piece. If he goes this way, he allows possibilities. So if he goes this way, he ruins his structure more. Lose-lose. We need to re-employ our queen to a better job now that it has no use here. He does choose to ruin the structure, so we don't let our infiltration. Okay, so now we can change avenues and use these weaknesses to get our pieces in. Since he's kind of blocking this up, there's not so much you're going to be able to do about it at this point. You have a passed pawn, but I am running out of time. I should go here with a checkmate and 2 threat. He defends it. I go for the queen trade because trades are wins, and he will likely try to avoid it, putting his queen maybe on a worse square. Oh, he doesn't mind going for the trade. Oh shoot, there's no increment actually. Whoops. So let's just stabilize our extra pawn and play an endgame. Okay, so I have 50 seconds to think and convert this. I would love to get this off. He could blockade it. Although it is a passed pawn, protected, I could just leave it there for a long time. Yeah. So let me improve my king. Lift my rooks in case I need to double. He can't actually take this pawn while in a pin. He needs the help of his rook. Okay, he breaks, so we take. He takes, we improve our king. And now we have an open A file to use for our rooks. An open B file. Our king is safe. And he's also running low on time. So let's try to infiltrate, cause him some problems that practically he gets confused and panics. I'm going to make a random move that doesn't do anything just to see if he's going to blunder. And if he doesn't blunder, I'll make a real move after that. I could have made a real move to start, but this is kind of funny. Okay, he notices. Let's just go here and attack a pawn. Okay, now let's go back. He takes it. He pins himself. He might try to move his king to unpin. We go here, check. He has to go back in the pin if he doesn't want to lose the bishop. And that should be enough confusion for him to resign. He doesn't resign. We take the bishop. We also have this coming. And it's game over. So we did run a little low on time, admittedly. But that's what happens. You can't play 10-minute games and expect great outcomes. It's too short of a time control, especially if you're playing an opening that you don't know at all, like the open Sicilian, because then you're thinking on the starting moves. If you have some theory, you can maybe get to move 6, automatically with the ideas of the middle game in your head. Okay, so we have an open Sicilian right here. He takes, we take. He attacks us, development, defense, and center. He attacks us, development, defense, center. He attacks us. This is just defense and center. We have one blunder. So we had a plus 10 advantage, and we blundered it down to plus 3. Oh, so from completely winning to completely winning. That's probably the queen trade when I had like a minute left. We were just rushing. We did that on purpose. But let's see. Let's go through the game. We played this move. He amps up the pressure, and we just develop and defend. He castles, and now we improve a piece for free. He moves, improve our position for free. He moves, improve a piece for free. He moves, improve a piece for free. He goes here. We free stuff. We get the bishop pair. Tiny long-term advantage. And now we castle long and center. We're plus 1 and higher from here on out. So white is always just better from here on. So black tries to be solid. And we go for a kingside pawn storm. The top engine moves are h4, g4, and king b1. So you can see these are moves that I mentioned. You can see where my head is at. It's opposite side castling. Pawn storm is in order. You could try to play in the center, but there's not much to do with this particular construction, so we push on the flank. And then we get off h4, the other move. And then here's a little interesting. We chose to go f4, which is very not standard. Usually you just push these two pawns. Yeah, queen h2, bishop g5, g5. They all make sense. We go f4, also good, but weird. Now we throw in king b1 just because. You don't have to, but it's always a good idea. And now we're pawn storming his king and restriction and enabling. Okay, we just intermezzo, improve a piece for free. And now we lock things down. So we're plus 2 and higher from here on out. So basically, just crushing position from here on. We lock the center to make his pieces look dumb and give us time to coordinate and push. I don't think this move is good, but it's practically hard to play. That's why I like white. We play h5 to break open his king, and then we take to open the rook. We develop a piece directly towards his weaknesses, where I'm thinking about sacks. He goes and does stuff on the underside of the board, which is neither here nor there. Wow, you can sack. I was wondering if you could sack immediately. You can. So let's look at that. Rook takes, king takes, queen h2, king g8. Let's get rid of our bishop, and then we can take here, threatening this, 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 this. And this is plus 7. Okay, so you can do this. It's a little bit fancier. We didn't do that. We started with the slower queen h2, which gives him the option of going knight f5 or knight h5. It still says it's completely winning for white, totally crushing. He chooses this one, which allows en passant, so it's not as good. Because now knight f5, my pawn's not on the g file, so now I also have an open g file to work with. So it's not the same. In any case, we just remove our piece that was hanging. So let's say force move. Improving a piece towards his king. Least active piece for free. Force trade. We take his defender while our bishop It's already on its best square, so if we can't improve it, we might as well take his best defender and try to open up the king. And now it's plus 12, plus 20. So this is where they're saying my one blunder was. Plus 20. So if it's plus 20, this. I thought you couldn't do it because this. Oh wait, that's covered. So rook takes g6, king takes g6. Well, you can go h7. You're threatening to queen. If he moves the bishop somewhere, then you get in the queen and you just win the game mate in 2. Wow. Okay, so yeah, you could have just won on the spot with just crazy tactics, but I had a minute 30. I was looking at this at some points, but I didn't calculate deep. I just looked at like 2 moves. So I go here, and it's still completely winning for white, but it's not like the immediate knockout combination where we would have just won on the spot. We wouldn't have had to play any. This game took like 20 more moves or whatever. It would have been over in 5 moves. So that's why they call this a blunder, even though it's winning. Fine, whatever. We're threatening it now, so we missed the sacrifice. He defends it now, so that's why we go for the end game. Because we have a minute on our clock and we know we're up material, we go for the end game, and we just have an invincible structure. The only thing he can touch is this pawn on the h-file. So all we have to do is slowly outplay him. We have a protected passed pawn, forgetting about our extra passed h-pawn. So all endgames are going to be extremely pleasant, if not outright winning, and practically super difficult for black to make the accurate moves to not lose. So he just does random pawn moves. We threaten to push and open our bishop. He blockades. We improve our last piece, the king, super strong in an endgame as it has a force field. We improve our rook in case we need to double at a moment's notice. For example, if he ever takes this pawn, you immediately double and pick up the bishop. Okay, it's just a trade of pawns he offers. You could take this pawn, you can improve your king. We just improve the king at plus 2. We take our pawn back, and now we just slowly use these files to try to incrementally win the game. He takes one of the files, so we go to the other one. Then he hunts the pawn, but we know he can't really take it. First of all, if he takes it, we immediately win it, but even without this rook, he's in a weird pin. It's a little suspicious. So, okay, normally you just go and attack the pawn, right? That's the normal move. I played this random move, which I said in the game, just to see if he would blunder, but you can do the same thing with this move. It just so happens that if he takes this, having your rook here makes it so easy. Whereas if you move your rook and he takes it, it's a little more annoying move by move. So I did just a dumb move on purpose. He didn't fall for it, so whatever. I said, okay, I'll go down the other line where he takes it and you can't immediately go here, but it still looks problematic because you have to move your king while staying connected to the bishop, but it walks into this. So it didn't look right to me. And it is plus 7. You can't do this. We just attack weaknesses, infiltrate, support our pawn. Just a good improving move. He immediately blunders the tactic, hangs the bishop, and resigns. So good game by us. We missed a knockout blow at plus 20, but overall, pretty logical, decent game. I'm not going to complain about that. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Good luck in your chess, and goodbye.